especially as we get up on Thursday, Friday. We're going to be all in it. This time it's going to be a little different. What's up, Sylvia Witt Kelly in the live stream? What's going on, Sylvia Witt Kelly? How you doing? How you doing? So we will be going through this very smoothly. Let me make sure you all can see me. Be sure YouTube's acting up. You know, you never know what YouTube's going to do. But this time last year around, well, let's not say this time. At this particular GP, there was a very unfortunate situation that took place with this GP. We all know that the citizens of Romainga definitely suffered some losses. Definitely suffered not even just losses in as far as we're talking about houses, we're talking about people. Okay, so there was a lot of devastation there, a lot of turmoil there. Some drivers stayed to help out. But what we did for Wolfpack is we went ahead, did a fundraiser, collected the money, finally got in touch with what's going on, Maria Duncan, what's going on? That's what I'm talking about. I decided to come on a little bit late, kind of odd, try to catch some of the fam that might be a little bit different, but it's good to see Maria in the house, Sylvia Wick in the house. But what we did was we did a fundraiser and we raised money for the citizens of Imola, and we sent that over, and then in return got the first, I believe it was the first Valtteri and Joe autograph poster for that, and then gave it away. One of our family members ended up getting that. So hopefully this time this race actually goes through without anything catastrophic happening. That is what I do hope. So with that being the case, let's go ahead and get into a bit of these things that are definitely going on right now. And what we're going to get into is, I think we kind of saw, or we kind of maybe thought that the FIA were going to probably screw it up all again. And when I say screw it up all again, I mean they were going to not impose rules that they had once before imposed on somebody else, specifically Lewis Hamilton. And that is for crossing the track. Now, a bit of that time during that GP, it seemed like that is what they were going to do. And at that point in time, I was like, well, if that's going to happen, that's some bullshit, okay? Because if you do one, what's good for the gander is good for the goose. But Lando crossed the track in Miami, and for a moment, it seemed like no penalty was going to be assessed, that it was just going to be water under the bridge. And that was going to be a problem because many of us already know there had been a situation prior to in the last season before where Lewis Hamilton in Qatar crossed the track at a point in which he thought was a safe time to cross. Russell passed in the background, and like Russell always does, he makes note and talks to, like, he brings attention to something where he wants somebody to get in trouble. And Russell's really bad about that. That's something I don't respect about Russell. He did it again when it was in the race. Tell Lewis to hurry up. Tell Lewis to hurry up for fucking what, bro? What are you about to do where he got to hurry up? I didn't even see Lewis in that picture. So it was a little bit bittersweet, but I think the FIA were right in doing so. I thought when they imposed that penalty on Lewis for crossing the track, I understood why they did it. Did I think they needed to probably assess a warning first? I thought that would have been nice, because we've seen them assess warnings prior to giving somebody a steep fine prior to that, right? But it seems like a lot of times, more than not, I think we can all kind of point some situations out where Lewis is heavily penalized or scrutinized to a degree that other drivers are not. And I'm not just talking about in the fashion or in the efforts of his ability on track, because anytime you're the greatest at something, you're going to get more scrutiny. You're going to be judged more. You're going to be judged to a higher standard. That's fine. What I'm talking about is when you're applying the rules and regulations, there should be no difference in applying those rules or regulations, period. If somebody does this and they get a penalty, and then somebody else does the same thing at a different track and they get a penalty, there should be the same penalty. And we've seen plenty of times it's not the same. So I will have to say this time, I am actually appreciative that it ended up the same. So we're going to look at two documents, two different years, and then we're going to look at the regulations, because what I like to do here, appreciate you, Sylvia Witt Kelly, appreciate you, Maria Duncan, and everybody else for checking in. What I like to do is they give articles, they give the citations in which why they and what rules they are applying here and why you got those penalties. So I like us to look into that because I think it gives us an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the internal workings of the sport. Therefore, if we see it again, we can understand, okay, we know these regulations exist. Now we can have a little bit more in-depth conversation about it. So Lewis Hamilton in Qatar 2023, all right, he crossed the track. As you see right here, it says the driver car 44 crossed the live track to return to the pit lane. All right. Now it gives you an infringement breach article 26.7 Bravo. Okay. Now it says reprimand, non-driving, all that other good stuff. But the financial fine here was assessed is right here. 50,000 euros with 25,000 euros, which is suspended for the remainder of 2023 on the conditions that there are no further breach of similar nature. So what it is you got 25,000 euros in the balance of this 50,000 euro total pot, just waiting for you. If you do this again, we'll bring the other 25,000 euros in, and there you will have a complete 50,000 euro fine for your pocket. Okay, splitting it up. So it seems like a warning, but it's a very stiff warning. It's a warning that's going to cost you 25,000 euros. And in the final bit of that penalty that could come down on you is the remainder of the 25,000 euros, which is a totality of 50. So it's like a warning, but not really. It's a warning. It's like a 50% reprimand on what we could totally charge you. And if you don't want to get charged at all together, don't break these rules. So as we come down here, it says that after crashing out, blah, 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 during the hearing, car 44 was very apologetic and realizing the situation could have been very dangerous for him as well as drivers approaching. The stewards reinforced the fact that crossing the live track can cause extremely dangerous situations, and the driver have to be very cautious about this, okay? So just like this, we go into Lando's situation. Here it is, Lando Norris. Of course, this is in Miami this year. The driver car 4 crossed the live track to return to the pit lane without permission. Okay, now that to me is very critical, and I think that's where they learned about putting in their facts, because on Lewis it just says to return to the pit lane. So when I see this, I wonder, because when you have two different documents with two different variations of verbiage, this is the key portion right here, without permission. All right, and I want you to pay very close attention to that verbiage and very close attention to what you don't see in Lewis's situation. You don't see them say without permission. It just says he did. Now, down here in the article and the rest of the reasoning why, I also did not come across where it said without permission anywhere in this body of work. I didn't see it. Maybe I overlooked it, but I didn't see in this body of work that it said Lewis did so without permission. Here, I do see Lando did so, crossed the track, a live track, without permission. That portion of the document is very important to me when we start to read the regulation. When we start to read the article 26.7 Bravo, it's very important to me because I could question unless they put it in another document to outline what exactly transpired before, during, and after when Lewis's situation took place, what indeed transpired before, during, and after when Lando's situation took place. Those words, without permission, are very important as we read the article. Okay? So as we go back into the article right here, we'll see that Lando also, the first reprimand of the season, fined 50,000 euros, 25,000, which is suspended for the rest of 2024, as long as there is no further breach of similar nature. Okay? As we also see right here, during the hearing, car 4 realized that the situation could have been very dangerous for him, and which I also noticed, that's all he says. All right, that's all Lando says. It could have been very dangerous for him. They don't use apologetic. There's no apology. There's no mention of other drivers. It's just car 4 realized the situation could have been very dangerous for him. Whereas here in Lewis's situation, it says during the hearing, car and driver of car 44 was very apologetic and realized that the situation could have been very dangerous for him as well as the drivers approaching. I'm not, don't get it wrong when I say this, but I'm just going to say this. It always seems to be a theme that when somebody that looks like Lewis Hamilton does something to where they're going to penalize it, you need to be very apologetic. You need to understand what you could have done to yourself, and more so, what you could have done to other people. Paul, what's up, bro? What's up, fam? Sorry I missed Saturday's race as I was Mr. Grumpy Pants. No, LOL, no bad energy now. Peace and love. Smash the like button, subscribe. Paul, brother, hey, man, anytime. Hey, I was looking for you too, bro. I was looking for you. Like, where's he at? Where's he at? But, bro, totally understand. You've been here more than not, and you got plenty of opportunities. If you're not here, bro, I would never hold it against you. I know that your energy, I know that your commitment and your dedication to this family is above what I've seen anywhere else, as well as other people in our family, like Sylvia Witt Kelly, Maria Duncan, Jesse James Bell, Cornbread, bro. Ain't no harm, no foul, bro. I'm just glad to know you and the missus are safe, man. So what I was saying was, it just seems like that a person like Lewis Hamilton, we got to be very apologetic. Lando, not so apologetic. Not so more realizing that he could have caused not only himself danger, but other drivers danger. So I find that it's very interesting. I'm not saying it's an indictment. I'm not saying it's a thing. I'm just saying it seems very similar to other situations when it comes. I got to be apologetic. And I'm even going to say this. If I use the totality of my voice, sometimes I'm accustomed to kind of soft blowing because people in a certain room feel intimidated when I use the totality of my voice. And it's crazy that it's that way because I'm a black man. I'm just going to be straight up honest with you. The totality of my voice in a meeting with people, it comes off as, oh, he's aggressive. And it's crazy that dynamic, that damn stereotype exists, right? In certain rooms, if you want to warm up to people, it's oddly funny, but it is true. You kind of got to put a little honey on it for them because already they're like, oh, black man in the room talking with confidence. Ooh, it's very crazy. So anyway, as we say about that, now let's look at the article. All right, 26.7 right here is where we are. We're going to read this first because this makes sense to go into the other. It says, during the period of commencing 15 minutes prior to the ending, 5 minutes after every free practice session, qualifying session, and sprint qualifying session, and the period between the commencement of the formation lap, which immediately precedes the sprint session, and the race and the time when the last car enters the Parc Ferme, no one is allowed on the track, the pit entry road, or the pit exit road, with exceptions of, here are our exceptions. A, marshals, right here, Alpha, marshals or other authorized personnel in the execution of their duty. Bravo, drivers when driving or on foot have first received permission to do so from a marshal, permission to do so. Remember what I said. This is very important because it says right here in Lando's document, it says that he entered pit lane without permission. Without permission. Right here on Lewis, it does not say that. It just says driver of car 44 crossed the live track to return to the pit lane. Keep that in mind because I want to talk about that. C, Charlie. Team personnel with either pushing a car, clearing equipment from the grid after cars, and and then Delta, team personnel when assisting marshals to remove a car. These are the reasons, Alpha through Delta, why if you enter the track, you should be able to do so without reprimand. Without reprimand, okay? So when you don't put certain verbiage into a document that officially states why somebody is being reprimanded, it makes me question, did you really have the right to reprimand Lewis Hamilton? Because by the letter of your document, it leaves it open to interpretation, unlike Lando's. Lando's letter of document pretty much says, you did not have permission, this is why you should be reprimanded. Exactly right here. Without permission. Lewis Hamilton's document does not state that he entered the track to return to pit lane without permission. So did Lewis have permission? Did he ask for permission? Were one of the marshals on the track? Because there were several that went ahead and attended to him, correct? Right? We know this. We know that there were several people out there that attended to Lewis while he was on track. So my question to them would be, did Lewis enter the track after asking if he could enter the track? That is what I would like to know. That is what I would like to know. Because if he did have permission or he did ask for permission, then why in this case is it that Lewis is being penalized? Why is he being penalized? That is something that I would like to know. Why is Lewis being penalized if he did ask for permission? That would be the very important thing about it. So I don't know. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But if you don't put that in one document and you put it in another document, it could lead me to believe that Lewis did ask for permission. Therefore, I'm going to ask you, why are you penalizing Lewis? Now, we don't know because they didn't say so in the document. And that's what I got to go by. And that's what the FIA should understand, that in the event you don't put certain things in the document, it's fully open for people to say and feel like that shouldn't have been done. It shouldn't have been done. Because the truth is, if we look on a situation that matter, if we look right here, we know that Lando enters this track right there and likely should not have. He's right there walking into it. All right. So that likely should not have been the case for Lando. Likely should not have been the case for Lando. Okay. If we go and look here and we look into Lewis's situation when he entered the track, you wonder, Sylvia Wick, they penalized him anyway. It's Lewis. And that's kind of what I'm getting to. That's kind of what I'm getting to. And see, this is why Sylvia Wick is completely fair for saying that. She's completely fair for saying that. Because when you don't put the verbiage in there, there's nobody that should be debating if she feels that way, that it's not okay for her to feel that way. You said that Lando entered without, but you didn't say that about Lewis. So should Lewis have been penalized? Maybe he should have been giving a warning. And even so, if that's the case, maybe not even a warning. Maybe you needed to have a meeting with your staff and your marshals. Yo, did any of you tell Lewis at any point in time that it was okay that he returned to the pits? Did Lewis at any point in time said, hey, are y'all good with the car? Can I go ahead and leave? And maybe the marshal said, yeah, you can go ahead, once the track is clear, you could just head across. If that's the case, should he ever have been penalized? If that situation were to take place? Or would you have penalized Lewis anyway to set an example that no one should cross the track, although we have a document in 26.7 Bravo that says you can cross the track as long as you have permission from a marshal, which is what you state in Bravo, having first received permission to do so from a marshal. The marshals are on track with Lewis when they are doing the car. Paul says, we all know they will find any reason to punish Lewis and try to hold him down. It's sad. It is sad. It is sad. But I would like to say, if indeed, let's just try to have a perspective of, they're doing the right thing. If indeed Lewis entered the track, did not receive permission, this could be an example, finally, because it's not often we get these examples. More times than not, we have some kind of controversial situation there. Was like, was that really necessary? Because you did this here. But at this point in time, it's like, okay, Lando, $50,000 with the remainder of $25,000 suspended unless he does the same thing. Lewis, $50,000 with the remainder of $25,000 unless he does the same thing. I would like to hope that the FIA would be more on track to govern Formula One in a non-biased, very equality way. That is what I would like to hope that they would do. That is what I would like to hope that they would do going forward. There are so many blunders in Formula One where we've seen they just don't do it right. They just don't do it right. And it is sad that an organization to that magnitude that has such a responsibility to ensure the integrity and safety of a sport the organization themselves have shown us they have bad integrity, bad character, and sometimes the lack of ability to govern this sport. With one of the biggest examples in 2021 AD, another big example in Crashgate, which Massa is still trying to go through legal situations to try to, at least bring that to the light and maybe receive some type of financial compensation, but nothing's going to change in the championship standings. People would like it to, just to kind of shade Lewis, but that would be crazy. But I also would like to see from the FIA to take full ownership when you do something wrong and go back and fix it. It really is a stain on your organization when we see you now go back and fix calls or reprimands or judgments that you made because, we kind of messed up. You messed up big time before. So I'm still trying to sit here and wonder why you haven't fixed that. I don't even care if Lewis doesn't accept it. I don't care if he doesn't want the trophy. I care about you as a governing body agency that has a responsibility to Formula One to say, yo, we've messed up. We messed up big time. Big time. Do we want to keep allowing this to go forward as jacked up as it is and just kind of avoid it, explain it away, don't pay any attention to it? Or can we go ahead and eat the crow pie now, even 2 years later, and say, hey, 3 years later, actually, and say, hey, we messed up here. We're going to fix it. We're going to fix it right now. We're going to strip Max of the championship. It wasn't right. He didn't earn it under the circumstances. We did something that totally altered the outcome of this race. It totally altered the outcome. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. What FIA did, what Formula One did, completely altered the outcome of that race. Therefore, it is factual. If we did not do that and we carried out the regulations as it's stated for the safety car and for everybody, the back markers to unlap themselves and not have people out of position, Lewis Hamilton earned the fact of gapping Max Verstappen by 10 to 14 seconds pretty much throughout all that race. He would have crossed the line first under circumstances untainted. We're fixing it. If he doesn't want the trophy, fine. If he doesn't want to be champion, fine. But on the paper, on the statistic sheets, and our historical data, it will say that Lewis Hamilton is an 8-time world champion. I don't know that's not hard to fix. If it was Max, there would have been no penalty. And Paul, I can't disagree with you on that. Because what did we see? When Max did the pit lane entry shit, no penalty. They just let bro carry on. And then what did they do? They changed the rules to facilitate Max's style, and then Max abused the rules, and they had to redact them. They had to go back and retract it. So these are the things I'm talking about. Jefferson, FIA new regulation, Lewis Hamilton must race without a backpack full of bricks for damn. Bro got to have a balance in there. He got to go ahead and put a backpack full of bricks in there. The car itself is a brick. Let's just be honest. The car itself, the W15 is just another brick, a lesser brick than the W14 and the W13, but it's still a brick. Lewis Hamilton, he's having trouble racing and passing Haas. If that doesn't tell Mercedes that you still built a piece of shit number 3, I don't know what metrics will tell you that, where you'll realize we have not been good at making cars lately. Like, we're literally having trouble with Haas's. And they had that situation when Mick was in there and they were in the Red Bull ring. The Haas's were working together and it was hard for them to get by. This is where Mercedes is right now. They're 4th. They are 4th, trailing McLaren by 60 points. They are trailing McLaren in 4th place by 60 points. I don't have a reason to doubt that after Emilia GP, it would be 100 points. Ferrari's supposed to be coming with a pretty bad package, so we'll see what happens there. But in at least 2 GPs, if Mercedes continues on this trajectory and McLaren continues on theirs, Mercedes will be in 4th place, trailing by more than 100 points, likely sliding to 5th place, depending on what happens with Aston Martin. This is where Mercedes is right now. It's just true. It's a fact. It's not Lewis Hamilton's fault. It's not George Russell's fault. It's Mercedes' fault. It's Toto Wolff's fault. It's the engineering technical director's fault. Everybody who told Lewis you don't know how to build a car, we know what we're doing, it's your fault. So we'll see what happens this weekend. It could be it could be very, very damaging and very disappointing for Mercedes fans, which I believe a lot of Mercedes fans are so fed up. I think Mercedes is going to lose a lot of their fan base when Lewis Hamilton leaves to Ferrari. And I'm gonna tell you why. It's not because they just want to ride the bandwagon. Some people will. DJ Big Blue says Mercedes is fighting for the best of the rest. Bro, Mercedes is about to lose their fight. They're fighting to stay in fourth of Alpine of 2022. I think it was 2022. They're fighting to stay there. I'm not sure they're going to stay there. I'm not confident that Mercedes is going to hold down even fourth place for the Constructors' Championship. Aston Martin is like, 22 points behind? And let's just be real. Aston Martin likely could turn it up. You got Mercedes customer teams doing better than Mercedes work team. That right there is not a good look. It's just not a good look. It's not a good look for you as a manufacturer, for you as a works team to supply your customer teams and them be outperforming you. Is Haas outperforming Ferrari? Are they? Is Alfa Romeo Sauber right now? Are they outperforming Ferrari? No. Right now, the only Mercedes team that's now outperforming Mercedes is Williams. And I mean, Aston Martin's right there. So you can add them. But it's not looking good. To me, I would say, aside from Lance Stroll, which he's not good, and he's not helping Aston, I would still say that Aston is looking like they might be doing better than Mercedes at some point in time in this season. That's just very possible. So Mercedes got to get it together. We'll see what happens. But Albon also, you got Logan Sargent. I'm looking to see if Logan Sargent's going to be out of here soon. I don't know if Logan Sargent makes it through the rest of the season. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, we will be live. We're looking for the qualifying. We do also have a race this weekend, so definitely here for the race. We'll see about qualifying. I got to check the time. We will post about that. Big shout out to Driver of the Day, Electronic Cornbread from this past weekend. Your package is going to be on the way. Big shout out to Insure Frames for winning that race. Big shout out to Sean and Poochie Head for checking in. Derwin, Racer X, everybody that checked in this weekend to get a race in. A big shout out to you all. We will have another race when Formula One is not racing. We are racing here. So if you'd like to join us, join us. If you'd like to participate in the race, send me an EA Sports platform friend request and be online in the live chat. Or if you're in our Discord, 30 minutes to 15 minutes prior to starting the race. That way we can get your request out, get you onto the grid. You can be there for qualifying, then go right into the race and have a good time, all right? So with that being said, Wolfpack out. See y'all soon. Peace.